Hello, Giants fans. Welcome to Giants Baseball 101. I'm Gabe Vaughn, your host. The Giants have traded for 2021 American League Cy Young Award winner Robbie Ray. He is coming to them from the Mariners, and in return, Anthony DeSclafani and Mitch Haniger are headed to Seattle. And for Haniger, it's a return to the team where he spent the main portion of his career. He hit free agency after the 2022 season, and that is when the Giants signed him. But prior to that, he was with the Mariners for the vast majority of his previous Major League playing time. And now the Mariners are bringing him back. But for the Giants, acquiring Ray, obviously there are some questions, and we have to navigate the whole perception about what's the risk versus the benefit. And I'm going to explain in today's video why I believe that Ray is a good fit for the Giants and why I think this deal is very beneficial for them. And first of all, I think before really going into the positives that Ray brings to the table, I think it's important to note the fact that this investment was a really low-risk one for the Giants. And in fact, the departure of Haniger from their outfield, I actually think it does something positive towards solving the problem of too many outfielders. And hopefully it will bring the Giants back to at least being open-minded about pursuing more outfielders, or at least being open to it, and keeping a full-fledged pursuit of Cody Bellinger on the list of options. Because it seemed like that was a thing that was kind of blocking the idea previously, the fact that the Giants had so many outfielders, and now they're getting rid of one of them. I think that's where it could actually be a good thing. And I've mentioned before that maybe the way to deal with underperforming outfielders is the trade market. And I think that could definitely be the case here. So just moving Mitch Haniger is something that we don't need to feel like that was in any way a loss, I don't think. And DeSclafani too, I think it is pretty clear. We can pretty clearly see that it was just time to move on from him. He had a powerful year with the Giants in 2021, but since then he has not been productive, and he's been plagued by injury. And it's just whether he's fixable or not, I think there's no way to know, and it was just time to move on from him. But now you come to Robbie Ray, and the question you've obviously got to ask is, was he the right target for the Giants, given that he's not likely to be able to pitch until I think like mid-season, which that might be July. So that's where he isn't ideal, is that he won't be able to join the Giants rotation at the beginning of the season. But at the same time, I think that there are some things that are really important to realize. And one of them is that based on Ray's success record, and again, we still have the question of how resilient is he? Is he going to be able to come back and be dominant after the injury? And I think the answer to that is that it was kind of the thing all along that the Giants had to be willing to take some risks, and that if they wanted to make big moves this offseason, I really think that I think everyone knew all along that there was going to be significant risk involved one way or another, and that there is no real and practical way to avoid that risk. And that certainly applied to signing Jung-Hoo Lee, based on the fact that he's never actually had a real major league at bat. And it was just something it was a gamble that had to be taken to acquire a guy who has the potential, if it is maximized, to be a superstar player in the big leagues. But here with Robbie Ray, we have something similar and yet different in many ways. It's a guy that's missed a year due to injury and he still has some work to do to rehab. So there's uncertainty here and there's risk, but for the Giants at this time in the history of their organization, they really need to have the mindset where they look at the top and they just envision the best happening. They really do. And you think about the reward if Ray does turn out to be the pitcher that the Giants hope that he will. If he can come back and if he can be a superstar pitcher for the Giants and return to anything like his 2021 form, or even be just kind of like solid like he really was in 2022. If he can go back to that and be that kind of a part of the Giants rotation, particularly if he's able to pitch deep into games for the Giants, that could be absolutely huge, getting to and through the postseason. Because in the postseason too, and if he shows the ability to pitch well under pressure and he becomes a key postseason starter, it could make all the difference for the Giants. It really is the situation we're looking at. Could have the potential to make all the difference for the Giants rotation. And Robbie Ray is signed through 2026. That's the rest of the beauty of it. At least it's the beauty of it if it turns out to be a good thing for the Giants, which I think there is a great chance that it will. So this offseason move that the Giants have just made, it was a creative one for sure, and I believe that it was a good one, and honestly, I'm happy about it. And now the step for the Giants is to just finish the job so that they can survive until Ray is ready to join their rotation and just in total have a productive season and get to the playoffs. And lastly, it's just I hope I've just effectively brought out like the difference between trading for Ray and just what we've seen before, where it seems like the Giants have just too great of a reliance on what they think is their ability to take bad or mediocre pitchers and make them good. Even though there's risk in this situation, I don't see it as being the same kind of a thing. I don't see it as being the same kind of a thing at all. Because in this particular case, they're taking a guy who's proven he can pitch at top level, that he can be extremely dominant when he is good. That's what we're seeing now, and they're not just trying to they're not just trying to fix a pitcher who's come off of several mediocre years. That's the kind of practice that I'm saying needs to stop. But this right here, they're getting a guy who's been super productive, then fell into injury here. And yes, it's a gamble on how resilient is Robbie Ray, and it's something we're going to have to find out. But you analyze the risk benefit here, and it just, with what we understand right now, it has to be worth it. Thank you for watching. This has been Giants Baseball 101. Please subscribe if you haven't. Also, please leave your questions and comments. You know where to do it. I'll see you next time on Giants Baseball 101.